Welcome into SportsZone. I'm your host, Josh Conrad. We have a great show for you today. The Cowboys bounce back, the Mavericks report to me today, and we will talk some North Texas volleyball and soccer. But first, Mean Green football is back to 500 after the late game heroics of Trevor Moore. Joining me here at the desk is Connor, Beene, and Kyle Youmans. Guys, how are we doing today?
Doing pretty good. I'm just ready to talk some sports again on SportsZone.
Yeah, most definitely. It's a lot better to talk sports after a big Mean Green win, too.
Very true. And North Texas won by a score of 46-43 over the University of Alabama at Birmingham Saturday night. And although this is a conference and divisional win, UAB did not have a football team at this time last year. Now, the pass defense for North Texas looked rough all night. To put it nicely, Connor, we will start with you. How good should North Texas fans feel about their football team right now?
Well, this is a big win. Coming off the loss at Iowa last weekend, it was a big win for the program. 500th win, historic, of course, making history. Definitely made it harder than they needed to be, letting them back in the second half. They had a pretty good lead going into the third quarter, 30-14 to be exact. But like you said, the secondary looked rough. Eric Jenkins has some good PBUs going on. Keyshawn McClain's great. As always, we just need some of the guys like, Nate Brooks got beat a couple times on the show, or not on the show, in the game. So we just got to get him set up. Jeff Wilson looked really good. 211 yards, you can't beat that. Definitely the best running back in the conference.
The big thing is, which one are we going to be more excited about? Are we going to be more excited about this first half North Texas team, or are we going to be really worried about the second half North Texas team? In the first half, North Texas looked like a team that could potentially contend for a Conference USA title. Yeah. Once the third quarter came around, it was quite the different story. So it depends on if they can continue what they've been able to do the past 2 weeks. I mean, they led Iowa at halftime. That didn't necessarily carry over. That's a Big Ten team. But seeing that kind of carry over again against a UAB program, like you said, Josh, who didn't have a program last year, kind of worrisome for me.
321 over the air, definitely a concern. Do you guys think the secondary, being that it was the strength of the team from last year, can this secondary turn it around? And is that maybe something North Texas fans can feel good about going into the rest of the year?
It is still early in the season, so I definitely think they can turn around. Like I said, Nate Brooks, Ashton Preston, all those guys, I have faith in those guys. They're, starters from last year, and, they know what to do in this offense. So. Or this defense, actually. So
yeah, and the defense is really, it's something that we knew there were going to be question marks. We thought going in on paper the secondary was going to be the strength of the team. It hasn't necessarily looked like that through the first 4 weeks. The defensive lines played better than we originally thought they were going to play like. They had some good games like against Iowa and then even against SMU where they put some pressure on Ben Hicks in the backfield. But overall, this offense is what's been carrying the team. They're number one in total offense in the Conference USA, both in rushing and passing touchdowns. They're second in rushing and passing offense individually. But at the same time, this is an offense that's carrying the team right now. And if they're going to have any kind of chance to beat a Southern Miss, to beat an Old Dominion or a Western Kentucky and have that kind of play in the Conference USA standings, they're going to have to get the defense on board.
And you guys are missing the star of the game, Trevor Moore. Trevor Moore.
Of course, you're going to bring that up. Yeah.
Call it right down the middle on Mean Green game day, huh?
Not to brag, but yes, I'm never making another prediction again in my life. The guy was 4 for 4. He flipped the game. You guys didn't mention him, so I had to throw him in there. Now we talk about being the top scoring offense. Great so far. We're here playing the best defense in Conference USA, guys. Let's take a look at Southern Miss. Guys, give me a little bit of a prediction and a little bit of a feel going into this Southern Miss game.
Well, like I said, the best defense in Conference USA. The offense, I think the defense will have a better time with this offense than they did with UAB. The quarterback, Quadra Griggs, is only completing 58% of his passes right now. Only has 7 touchdowns. So doesn't really blow me away. So I think we could fare out having a good week. We have to go up there, though, so we'll see how that goes.
And I would have to agree with you there. Last year, this is a game that went down to the wire. It was a game that didn't necessarily impress me, didn't impress anybody for North Texas-wise, but overall, North Texas did win that ball game. A lot of that was because of Alec Morris and his play. A lot of the play calling from Graham Harrell ended up winning that ball game. But I think with the confidence that Mason Fine has and then Jeffrey Wilson as well, I think this is a Southern Miss team that is expecting at home to take a win from the Mean Green, coming in off of a scary win against UAB. But I think overall this is a game that North Texas can and should win on the road.
I'm going to keep talking about Trevor Moore really quick. Southern Miss kickers only kicked it 3 times this year.
Hey, well, there you go.
We kicked it 4 times last Saturday.
116 straight XPs, man,
And, guys, do you think North Texas – I know we're just 1-0 right now in conference. UTSA looks really good. Southern Miss is obviously a challenge. We have Louisiana Tech. Is this a North Texas team that can compete in Conference USA and maybe win the West Division?
All those teams you named, we got a lot of work to do. We haven't seen Louisiana Tech yet. I think they're the class of the West, most definitely. But I really believe in Mason Fine. He has grown before our eyes. I think I said it before. I think almost losing his job in training camp was probably the best thing that ever happened to him. Honestly.
The big thing with this team is I would love to go out and say, yeah, we're going to contend for a Conference USA title. I still don't know where this team is. You don't know how Lamar was. I mean, they're an FCS school. That should just go away. Then you look at the SMU game. Still not sure how good they are. You don't know how good Iowa is. They were able to contend to a Penn State team and lost on the final play. But really, this UAB game was supposed to be a measuring stick. But even then, this is a program that hasn't been around for 2 years. Came out with a close win. If we would have ended up blowing that team out, I'd say, hey, yeah, Conference USA, it's ours for the taking. We just got to win a couple key games. I'm still super unsure on where this team actually stands.
I believe in first half North Texas. Yeah. Not so much about second half North Texas.
All right, well, we'll see what will happen Saturday night. We'll see if the Mean Green can pick up another conference win against the Golden Eagles of Southern Miss. After the break, though, we talk Mavericks and is Dennis Smith a Rookie of the Year candidate? Up next on SportsZone.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hey, it's Ava, and this is Tess from Vivo's Do It Yourselfie, where we recreate the hottest looks from today's biggest music videos.
After cleaning out our closet, we have a lot of clothes we don't wear anymore.
Like this old t-shirt.
It's not garbage, it's actually a brand new rug.
And to make it, all you need to do is cut, tie, and glue.
Cut the t-shirt into strips.
Tie the strips into knots.
And glue the knots to the bath mat. I love it. Give your garbage another life.
And recycle.
We taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
Thanks for coming in for the interview.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, we got your personal references, your resume, high school diploma or equivalent.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Yes, it's right there.
Great.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
And Dwayne Wade signed with the Cleveland Cavaliers yesterday, wrapping up one of the wildest NBA off seasons of all time. NBA fans who haven't been paying attention since June might take a double take when they check their team rosters here in a couple weeks, but there is one team where you don't have to worry about that, and that is you, Dallas. While the Mavericks' real season won't start until the NBA draft lottery this upcoming May, we will show them some love here today. Now, the big pickup for the Mavs this offseason is rookie Dennis Smith Jr. out of North Carolina State. Some are calling the 6'3" point guard a Rookie of the Year favorite and the steal of the draft. Now, Kyle, you're a big-time Mavs fan. I'm going to ask you, will Dennis Smith be Rookie of the Year
Well,
in
at
the
least
NBA?
you asked me that. Did you write this script as a San Antonio Spurs fan, or what happened?
They
here?
just gave it to me.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. But overall, I think Dennis Smith's a real deal. I mean, this is a guy coming out of NC State that had a great summer league. He averaged 17, 4 and 4. He showed he's ready for a big-time role in this Dallas offense now. In terms of saying Rookie of the Year in the entire league, I don't want to press the gas pedal too much. I think he can win it. I think he's going to be in the running. But overall, I think there's too many guys like Markelle Fultz, like Alonzo Ball that are going to be in the running. I don't necessarily think Dennis Smith Jr., unless somehow the Mavs, by a miracle here in the Western Conference, somehow make the playoffs and he's a big reason, scoring 21, 5 and 5 throughout the way, then maybe he could be in that conversation of winning the Rookie of the Year, but I just don't think, and I don't see that happening this year.
Tell me why he's going to win Rookie of the Year.
I mean, I've seen rookies on worse teams win Rookie of the Year.
It's true.
And, I think this guy's the real deal, like you said. The talk of the summer league beside, LeVar's son in Los Angeles. But, the guy had a great summer. And I don't see why he couldn't win Rookie of the Year, I think we might be a little maybe competitive in the West. It just really depends on like those last 4 teams on who gets in. Like if he gets in, then that's it, Rookie of the Year. If not, we'll have to see.
And it's interesting you said he had such a great summer. The Mavericks, of course, won the Orlando League. They only lost 1 game in Las Vegas. I mean, this is a guy, he put up 18 points in college. Now, wasn't on a winning team. We see kind of a trend of that. Last year, Ben Simmons wasn't on a winning team. He goes number 1. We see all these great prospects, but they're not on teams in college that have success. If you're an NBA GM, is that something you look out for?
Well, I don't necessarily know if you're looking for potentially that one guy that's going to be on a losing team. You never want to lose, but at the same time, you need to fit your needs. And that's exactly what the Mavericks were able to do. You look at the point guard play that they had last year. Yogi Ferrell, he had 11.3 points per game. Seth Curry, Darren Williams, some people forget he was even on the Mavericks last year, and then sometimes J.J. Barea was in that role. Any 4 of those guys, I think Dennis Smith Jr. is a better player than that guy. I think they've upgraded in that position just by that draft pick. And even though they were in the later, they were in I believe it was the 8th or 9th overall pick. I can't remember off the top of my head. But just because they were later in that top 10, that doesn't mean you can't address your team needs. They were able to do that, and they did it in a great pick of Dennis Smith.
And so we have Dirk Nowitzki, Tim Duncan Light, as we call him down in San Antonio.
Yeah, that's terrible.
My God.
Is this going
That's
to be
wrong.
his last year in a Mavericks uniform?
I do not think so. I think he has a lot in the tank left. I want him to get to 21. More importantly, I want him to get to 22 seasons because that's never been done before in the league. He has a lot of left. His legs are still looking pretty good. Holger has, I don't know what he's doing to the man. He's giving him like Chemical X or something like that. I don't know what's going on with him, but he looks fresh. Rarely has an injury nowadays. They might sit him because, he's 40 years old. So just depends.
I don't know if I would use the word fresh for Dirk Nowitzki. He's not exactly Benjamin Button, but at the same time, I think he's a guy who's going to be able to play for another couple of years. In July, he signed that 2-year, $10 million deal that signs him through this year, through next year. I think he can potentially get through both of those. And then, like you said, maybe go for that 22nd season. But overall, it's going to be different this year because they announced a couple days ago at Media Day, they're going to move Dirk to the center. Yeah. They're going to have Dirk at the center. They're going to have Harrison Barnes play in the power forward position. Wes Matthews will slide down to the small forward, and then shooting guard is going to be Seth Curry. So
wait, sorry,
it's going to be
or Seth?
Seth, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Seth. But sure overall, right. I just think that Dirk. He's Dirk. He's going to come back. He's not necessarily a guy who's going to body up a defender and get hurt doing that kind of thing. He'll get hurt running, trailing down the floor, but at the same time, I think he's got 2 years left in the
We're never going to win an opening tip ever again.
Yeah, no, definitely so.
Unless I think honestly, I think Dennis should jump for the ball in opening minutes.
Yeah, that might have a better chance.
Yeah, so we look at the Western Conference as a whole. You have the Rockets, the Warriors, the Spurs, Thunder, Timberwolves. Those are kind of the 5 teams that we see really being in the playoffs. There's a bunch of these fringe teams. You have the Nuggets, Clippers, Jazz, Pelicans, Trailblazers, Grizzlies. You have the Mavs. Can the Mavs maybe be one of those fringe teams that get in? Quick answer, yes or no?
Yes.
I think they can. I don't think they will.
You don't think they will?
Yeah.
All right, well, we will definitely see if the Dallas Mavericks can survive the rigged Western Conference, or if they will be looking at lottery balls. But after a week of misery and doubt, Dallas football fans are finally happy again. We will discuss after the break.
Chuck Dandy. Come on down to UNT Surplus.
UNT Surplus.
Look at all this affordable stuff. This couch only $10. These laptop bags only $5.
UNT Surplus.
Open only on Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Only on Tuesday. Tuesday.
At the Surplus Warehouse, 925 Precision Drive. UNT Surplus. Come on down and buy now.
Ballerina.
Sometimes all it takes to be a dad is remembering how to be a kid again. Take time to be a dad today.
Everywhere that we go, he makes people laugh and makes people smile, and I feel like I have that quality.
He's the one who always takes me fishing.
I watch golf with him. And
I watch him cook, because when I grow up, I want to be a cook too.
We have the same faces like this.
Dad is the one, when you fall, that picks you up.
That unconditional sense of presence and reassurance is really what makes him my father.
heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Well, the Cowboys were able to turn things around after that ugly Denver loss with a 28-17 win over the Arizona Cardinals this Monday night. While much attention was made about Jerry joining the team to take a knee before the anthem Monday, I want to talk about the actual football game here today. Now, guys, is this win enough to get Denver loss out of your head? Connor, does this erase that Broncos memory for you?
I mean, that loss was absolutely terrible, but it does it does help. I think they look pretty good. They're starting to look like the Cowboys of last year. Dak, that deep ball was working last night, man. I tell you what, he doesn't take a lot of deep shots. When he does, hey, they work out. Zeke, I don't think he's at where he was last year yet. I know he still has a lot of outside distractions, so hopefully he can get there wherever he needs to get there. O-line doesn't seem to, be gelling yet because, they got two new pieces, Lyle Collins, and then we're wondering who the right guard is going to be. Looks like Chaz Green is going to be the right guard for the season. I think that's his job to lose. And also, I think a big thing that's hindering Dak is Cole Beasley doesn't seem to be getting as open as he did last year. Remember last year he led the team in receiving. I don't think he had maybe like 2 targets last game, so we just need him to get open, most definitely.
And he talked about Zeke not playing as well. Kyle, do you think there's any part of what's going on off the field? Do you think that's possibly distracting him as he's playing these games?
It's either that or it's all of it combined. I mean, he's got a lot of pressure on him. You go from having a stellar rookie season. Yes, you have Dak to kind of take a little bit of that pressure off of you as well, but you have the offseason, I guess, distractions. You have all of this around you. Not only does the pressure get to you, but the distractions do too. There's a lot of different ideas in terms of what goes into making a good NFL running back, and a lot of that is in between the ears. And I don't see that necessarily from Zeke this year. Last year, he had all the confidence in the world. It looks like he's kind of been knocked down a peg. He's not been bad. I'm not going to say that he's been awful. His Week 1 game was awesome. He didn't show up in the Denver game. He was okay this week. But overall, like Connor said, he's just not the same guy that he was last year.
And so if you're a Dallas fan, you went on the road, you go 2 for 9 on 3rd down, you got outgained in total yardage, you had more penalties than Arizona did, you still win the football game. You didn't look great, your defense gave up a lot of yards, secondary was kind of an issue for the Cowboys too. Larry Fitzgerald had 13 catches for 149 yards. You're a Dallas fan right now, you've got 1 through 10. 1 is we're not going to make the playoffs, 10 we're going to the Super Bowl. Where are you going at 1 through 10?
I would probably go 7.5 or 8. JB, just because, I do think, the defense can only go up. DeMarcus Lawrence looking like DeMarcus Ware out there. He leading the league in sacks right now. And then a healthy Sean Lee is like the best thing in the whole world. Yeah. A healthy Sean Lee is probably the best thing. And Jalen's looking good. And then our young secondary, they're, I can't really blame them for anything. It's their first NFL experiences. So I think they can only go from here as well.
Well, you look at the defense. They're banged up. They don't have all their guys back yet. Awuzie out last week. Like you said, a healthy Sean Lee's awesome, but when is that actually happening? There's a lot of question marks around the defense. The offense is really supposed, kind of like we talked about North Texas and A-Block, this offense is supposed to carry this team. They didn't necessarily do that, but they still came out with a win. It showed me guts. It showed me that this team knows what they have in store. They know the talent that they've been given, and they don't want to squander it away. That's exactly what I saw on Monday, but what they were able to do against the Cardinals, like you said, statistics. The Cardinals had everything that they needed statistically to potentially win the ball game, but they weren't even really close throughout the 4 quarters in Arizona.
And the secondary's issues are now going to be tested against Los Angeles with Jared Goff coming in. You see the improved stats. There may be no better measure of why Jeff Fisher should never coach in the NFL is what Jared Goff has done through the first 3 games. Do you see the Rams being a challenge coming in? You're back at home. You're in Jerry World. Do you see the Rams maybe coming in and stealing a game from the Cowboys?
I mean, I see it. We just got to go out there and play our football, though. Jared Goff, like you said, has looked awesome. Looks like a #1 pick now. We're waiting for him to finally step up. It's going to be a good test for our defense, our good young corners out there, Xavier Woods, safety, I think we're going to see a lot of him. Jordan Lewis had a pick in the Denver game. I think we're going to see a lot of him. And then Jalen Smith, the success story of everyone, I think we're going to see a lot of him as well. Rod Marinelli needs a raise, in my opinion, honestly. What he's working with is, he needs a raise.
You got the Rams or Cowboys?
I think the Rams are not going to steal one. I think it's going to be close, though. I mean, with the trio of Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, and then you also have Sammy Watkins in the receiving core now. That's a dangerous offense. I mean, they've put up numbers in their first 3 games. So I think it's going to be a closer game than a lot of people expect. But at the same time, I mean, it's the Cowboys at home. They're better at home than they are on the road. We've already seen that whenever they beat the Giants in Week 1. I think Dak and Zeke are going to be back to normal this week. I think it's going to be a good win for the Cowboys, but I think it'll be a lot closer than a lot of people think.
All right, well, we got to wrap it up really quick here. We will see how they do in a tough game against the much-improved Jared Goff. Another tough test for the Cowboys secondary. But next on SportsZone, we take a deep dive into Mean Green soccer and volleyball as Kyle and Connor will break it down for us.
La 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 la, I love you so. I love you, I love you. La 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 la, la 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 la.
We're here.
Yay!
It's a short drive from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
This new mom is struggling to get the skates just right. And now she's holding on for dear life. Her kids can see she may have broke her knees. They still love her though she looks like she's attacked by killer bees. I'm allergic. Proof you don't have to be perfect to be the perfect parent.
Thousands of siblings in foster care will take you just as you are.
They said a bottle was just a bottle. That no one would ever notice me. But I knew I could be more. That one day, I would make people smile.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat?
1 in 5 children struggles with hunger in America. Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
The North Texas women's soccer team is off to a great start once again with a record of 5-2-2. Although the season is still early, it looks like the Mean Green are in for a lot of success in Conference USA once again. I was looking forward to seeing who was going to step up for Rachel Holden and Marcel Davis, 2 of the stellar seniors who were on last year's conference championship team. It looks like the freshman Berkeley Peters out of Keller High School will be one of those to fill those shoes. Peters already has 5 goals in her first 9 games. Although it's still very early in the season, it looks like head coach John Hedlund once again has the team competing for another conference championship. The team has Mid-American Christian tomorrow, and the rest of the games will be for conference play. Mean Green Soccer has definitely been one of the most consistent programs over the last few years as far as winning championships for the university are concerned, and I don't see that changing this season. And it's our job as students to go out and support the team in the best way we can.
And then kind of moving on here to Mean Green Volleyball. This is a team that's off to its best start in its program's history. They're 13-2. They have wins over Oregon State, Boston College, Mississippi State. They've won 3 tournaments, all in the preseason rather. They're now heading into conference play starting on Friday, but first they have one more Power 5 matchup tonight against the Big 12 Oklahoma Sooners at home at the Mean Green Volleyball Center on CUSA TV. This is a team that has it all. They have the senior leadership with preseason conference all first team members like Amanda Chamberlain, Holly Milam, and a player on the outside like Alexis Wright. This is a team that has the talent to do something in the Conference USA. As far as the underclassmen, they have depth there too. That's the difference between this Mean Green volleyball team than what they've had in the past. The volleyball team now has freshman depth such as, or really underclassmen depth, such as Emma Aiken on the outside. You've got Barbara Teakle. You have people like Valerie Valerian as well that are playing out of their mind as freshmen or as sophomores for this program. The big thing, though, with this team is that they're starting to read a little bit too far into the fact that people like us on SportsZone, people like NTTV, the NT Daily, are starting to take notice of this volleyball team. They have to be very, very careful, especially if they come up with a win against Oklahoma tonight, to not have really a big head about it. They have conference play. They're 1-1. They've already dropped a game against Southern Miss on the road. This is a team that could potentially challenge for a Conference USA title for the first time in its program history, potentially get to the NCAA tournament. But for right now, they're still very young. They're very early on in this season, so it'll be a lot of fun to watch as they continue their run after their best start in program history.
All right, and thanks, guys. Watch out for that dreaded SportsZone curse volleyball team. And here's some games you might want to know about going into the weekend. Guys, Denton Guyer, a big game against Plano Friday night at 7:30. Denton Ryan visits Denton High Thursday at 7. And North Texas hosts Oklahoma tonight in volleyball, while Mid-America Christian visits North Texas Soccer Thursday at 4 p.m. And, of course, guys, the big one this weekend, North Texas football plays Southern Miss Saturday, 6 p.m. Catch that on CUSA TV. Cowboys-Rams Sunday play at 12 on Fox, and the Rangers finish their season against the Oakland A's. Granted, kicked out of the playoffs, so maybe don't watch that. But and for you hockey folk, the Stars continue their preseason action in Minnesota Saturday night. If you like hockey, watch that. If you don't watch it. But all right, that's all the time we have this week for another episode of SportsZone. Thanks to Connor and Kyle back at the desk and everybody behind the scenes. Don't forget to follow us on social media, Twitter and Instagram at NTSportsZone. And then on Facebook, SportsZone. Follow our YouTube page, NTTV Sports, for even more content. We might be on MySpace one day, but for that, we will see you next week. Thanks for watching SportsZone.